All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to really dig into the best insights from, well, a whole stack of sources and make them work for you. Today, we're getting into a book that honestly made some serious waves back when it came out in 2009 and still does. It's Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
Yeah.
And just to kick us off, let me throw this out there. It's kind of provocative, but it cuts right to what Sethi talks about. Would you rather be sexy or rich?
Ah, that's a great way to start because it immediately makes you think about, what really matters, right? And Sethi, he uses this other really interesting comparison right at the start of the book. He asks, why do so many people, gain weight after college? They were slim, swore they wouldn't, and bam, 5 years later, it's a totally different story. His point isn't really about weight itself, but it's about this thing we humans do. We argue about tiny details instead of just doing the main thing.
Oh, yeah, that's so relatable. You see it everywhere, maybe even done it yourself.
Right.
Like getting totally bogged down in, I don't know, the specifics of some diet or in finance, arguing about the absolute best time to buy a stock or some tiny tax loophole.
Yeah.
So what Sethi's saying is the reason behind this.
Yeah.
And like, what's the actual cost?
He calls it illusory progress. It feels good, right? Debating the minutia makes you feel like you're engaging, like you're making smart moves. But really, he says, you're getting nothing done. Just like weight gain can sort of creep up ounce by ounce without you noticing, bad money habits do the exact same thing. People love to debate these small points like, does grapefruit really boost your metabolism? Or is this tiny fee better than that tiny fee? It gives you this like intellectual buzz, but it completely distracts from the fundamentals. For fitness, it's eat less, exercise more. For money, spend less, invest more, the real cost. Paralysis. You just spin your wheels analyzing and never actually, execute.
Yeah, that feeling of just being overwhelmed. Too many options. It's totally a thing. Sethi talks about decision paralysis, right? And how having too much info can actually stop you in your tracks. He even mentioned studies like Barry Schwartz's stuff and the paradox of choice, showing how like adding more funds to your 401k makes people less likely to pick one. That's wild. Is that the infoglut you mentioned?
Exactly that. We're swimming in infoglit. More information doesn't always mean better decisions. Often it just means no decision. And, the media hasn't always helped. For ages, personal finance advice was kind of aimed at, well, old white men talking about complex tax optimization strategies or telling you to stop buying lattes. Sethi argues that's not what younger people care about. They just want to know, okay, where's my money going now and how can I get it to go where I want it to go? And crucially, how to do that automatically without having to become some kind of Wall Street guru. It's about making the money serve your life.
Right, flipping the script. But then there's that internal stuff, the fear. Sethi tackles those excuses we make head on, like, I'm afraid of losing money. That's huge, especially after things like the 2008 crash. It feels so rational. But Sethi seems to say, yeah, fear is real, but it's also stopping you. How does he help us get past that?
He totally gets that the fear is natural. I mean, who wouldn't be nervous after seeing markets tank? But he frames it as an excuse that prevents action. He points out, look, there are tons of investment options, aggressive, conservative, everything in between. You can match it to how you feel about risk. But the thing people forget, the silent killer, inflation. If your money's just sitting there in a bank account, you're actually losing money every day. Its buying power just shrinks. So he flips it. He says, when others are scared, there are bargains to be found. If you're young with decades ahead, market dips aren't disasters. They're sales, opportunities to buy low. It's a mindset shift from scarcity to, well, opportunity.
From fear to opportunity. I like that. Okay, but what about the excuse, I just don't have an extra $100 a month? That feels pretty real for a lot of people.
Yeah, and he tackles that directly too. He promises to show you how to basically streamline existing spending. It's not always about earning more right away. It's about small tweaks. He puts it simply. $1 saved per day is $30 saved per month. That adds up faster than you think. And this leads right into one of his core ideas for just getting moving, the 85% solution.
The 85% solution. I love this one because it fights that urge to wait until everything is perfect before you start anything, right? How many of us do that? Waiting for the perfect investment, the perfect budget.
Exactly. That's the genius of it. Sethi is basically saying, look, taking action, even if it's not 100% perfect, even if it's only 85% right, is infinitely better than waiting for perfection and doing nothing. Perfectionism just paralyzes you in finance. It's way better to act and get it 85% right than aim for 100% and achieve zero, because 85% of the way is far better than 0%. It's about building momentum, showing yourself you can make progress, even small steps. It's a huge mental shift.
And it changes how you even think about what financial success is. Like Sethi says, the goal isn't to become some spreadsheet wizard working late every night. It's to live your life and let money serve you. Instead of asking, how much do I need? It becomes, what do I want to do with my life and how can money help me do that? That changes everything motivation-wise. It's not about fear anymore. It's about your actual life goals.
Precisely. It empowers you. You start consciously designing your financial life around your dreams, not just reacting to bills or what society says you should do. That's really the heart of Sethi's rich life idea. It's not just about the numbers in your account. It's using money as a tool to live the life you actually want.
Such a powerful shift, moving from fear to design. Okay, so to build that foundation for the rich life, Sethi makes us look at something many people kind of fear or misuse. Credit cards. Let's unpack that. Why does he say they're not just for spending, but actually critical for our future, especially our credit score?
Yeah, this is totally fundamental to his system. Okay, so you've got your credit report. That's like the detailed history. All your accounts, payments, inquiries, your financial CV, basically. Then you have your credit score, usually the FICO score, 385 to 850. Think of that as the Cliff's Notes for the credit industry. Just a quick number lenders use to judge how risky you are. And why is the score so important? Because a good one can literally save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest charges over your life. On mortgages, car loans, everything. Sethi argues improving your score is quantifiably worth much more than any advice about frugality, just because the long-term savings are massive.
Hundreds of thousands. Wow. That really drives it home. But, credit cards still feel like a trap to a lot of people. The late fees, the interest. We all know someone with a horror story.
Right.
What are the real dangers, Sethi points out? But also, what are those benefits we might be missing out on?
Oh, the dangers are definitely real if you're not careful. That average APR around 14%. It bites hard if you carry a balance. And those $35 late fees add up incredibly fast. He shares Michelle Miller's story, thousands in interest and fees just from college mistakes. These costs are way bigger than, say, cutting back on coffee. But, and this is the key, if you manage them right, the benefits are amazing. Consumer protection is huge. Got a dodgy charge. The credit card company often fights the merchant for you. Ramit tells a story about Sprint overcharging him, and his credit card company basically sorted it out. Plus, things like automatic warranty, doubling an extra year on stuff you buy, like Ravi Goya's camera example, car rental insurance, trip cancellation coverage, even concierge services. These perks save real money, but most people don't even know they have them.
It's like having a little army fighting for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we want to use them responsibly, what are Ramit's 6 commandments for getting the most out of our credit cards?
Right. These are his golden rules for making cards work for you. 1. Pay them off regularly, in full. This is absolutely the single most important thing. It's 35% of your score. Missing even one payment can tank your score and jack up your rate. Automate it. Eric Henry even got fees waived after a slip-up by being proactive. 2. Get fees waived, especially annual fees. Just call and ask. Be firm. I'd rather pay no fees. Usually works. 3. Lower your APR. Call and ask. If you pay in full every month, they often will. It's low-hanging fruit. Easy win. 4. Keep cards long-term and active. Lenders like seeing a long history. Don't close old cards. Put a tiny recurring charge on them, like Spotify, just to keep them alive. Remit does this with an old student card. 5. Increase your credit limit. This helps your credit utilization ratio that's 30% of your score. More available credit, assuming you don't use it, makes you look less risky. Just call and ask. 6. Use your rewards. But pick rewards you'll actually use. If you travel, get travel points for free flights like Remit does. If not, cash back is great. Don't just let points sit there.
Those are solid, actionable rules. Makes sense. But just as important as knowing what to do is knowing what not to do, right? What are the big credit card traps to avoid?
Absolutely. Pitfalls are everywhere. First, don't close old accounts. Seriously. It shrinks your available credit and hurts your utilization score. Keep them open, even if dormant, with that tiny charge.
Okay.
Second, avoid those 0% balance transfer games. Sethi thinks they're moronic. Why? Because they're temporary fixes. They don't change the spending habits that got you into debt, and the interest usually skyrockets later. Third, run away from retail store cards. He has that hilarious quote. They might as well have you a dumbass written on them in 36-point type. High APRs, low limits designed purely to make you spend more there. Bad deal. And finally, a simple one. Don't get in the habit of paying for friends on your card and taking their cash. It just muddies your own tracking and spending.
Okay, good warnings. Now, about debt, it sounds like people carry a lot of shame around it. I read that quote from Greg McBride, how people would rather talk about their sex lives than their credit card debt. That's intense. What's the real damage of carrying a balance, besides just the interest, and how does Sethi say we should attack it?
That Shane McBride talks about, it's a huge wall. It stops people from even facing the numbers. Sethi is blunt. The number one mistake is carrying a balance month after month, paying only the minimum. He calls that a critical mistake, like a little boy letting the school bully take his lunch money. Ouch. Carrying debt isn't just about interest. It's that triple whammy. Ridiculously high interest, eating your money, your credit score taking a beating. Remember, debt levels are 30% of it. And the sheer emotional weight, the stress, the avoidance. Claire Stubblefield's story about hiding wedding dress debt really shows that emotional toll.
Okay, so it's a monster. How do we slay it? What are the concrete steps Sethi recommends?
He lays out 5 clear, no-nonsense steps. 1. Figure out exactly how much you owe, no hiding. Get the precise number for every single debt. Call companies, log in online, face the music. 2. Decide what to pay off first. And his advice is from here. Mathematically, you attack the highest APR debt first. Forget the emotional quick win of the smallest balance. He says that's how you got into debt. Focus on saving the most money, which means tackling the highest interest. 3, negotiate your rates. Call his credit card companies. Ask them to lower your APR. You'd be surprised how often they say yes, especially if you explain you're trying to pay it off. 4, automate the payments. Set up automatic minimum payments at the very least, but ideally way more. This builds consistency and prevents missed payments. Make the system work for you. 5, start now, like within 1 week. Don't get stuck planning forever. He stresses paying off debt just takes hard work and a plan. Action is key. Melissa Brown's story, paying off tons of debt. It shows it's possible and totally freeing.
Clear, strategic, and focused on action. I like it.
Yeah.
So week 1 in his plan is all about credit. Get reports, optimize cards, start the debt plan. Huge first step.
Okay.
Week 2 moves on to the banks. He says we need to beat the banks. How are banks raking it in exactly? And what's the secret to dodging their tricks?
Oh, banks are definitely good at making money. 2 main ways. First, the classic model, lending out your deposits. They pay you peanuts, maybe 0.5% on your savings. Then they lend your money out for, say, 7% on a mortgage. That's a 14 times return for them. Sweet deal, huh? But the real killer for us, fees, fees, fees. Seriously, he cites that in 2006, banks pulled in over $10 billion just from overdraft fees. He tells horror stories, people getting hit with multiple overdraft fees in one day, turning a $5 coffee into a $100 mistake. Elizabeth's story, $400 in overdraft fees over 4 years. He says, 1 overdraft fee at your crappy neighborhood bank wipes out your interest for the entire year. It's like a hidden tax on not paying attention.
$10 billion in overdraft fees. That's staggering. Okay, so how do we fight back? How do we stop feeding their fee machine?
His big weapon here, online banks. He's a huge fan of places like ING Direct, which is now Capital One 360, or Emigrant Direct back in the day. Why? No expensive branches, fewer tellers. That means lower overhead. So they can offer dramatically higher interest rates, like 6 to 10 times what traditional banks offer. Plus, often better customer service because they're focused. He even mentioned some online banks apparently cut off problem customers, people with huge balances demanding tons of service to keep costs low for everyone else. And yeah, they're FDIC insured, just like your local bank, up to the limit. $100 K normally, briefly $250K back then. So the money's safe. Takes away that scary factor some people feel about online only.
Okay, leveraging tech to get better deals and fewer fees. Makes sense. So what basic accounts do we need, and how does Ramit suggest we structure them?
He keeps it simple. You really just need 2 main types for daily stuff, checking and savings. Checking is like your email inbox. Money flows in, paycheck, then gets filtered out automatically. Online banks often pay interest on checking now too, so the lines blur a bit. Savings accounts are for your short to midterm goals. Vacation fund, emergency cushion, house down payment. Sethi's system uses checking as the central hub. Paycheck lands there. Then automatic transfers that money off to your online high-interest savings for those goals and to your investment accounts. You use a credit card for most purchases, for the protection and rewards, and an ATM card just for grabbing cash. It's all about setting up the right habits early on, making it automatic.
So besides just going online, what else should we look for? And how do we actually negotiate with banks? Like, can you really argue about fees?
Definitely. First off, he suggests checking out credit unions. They're nonprofit, owned by members, so often have better rates and service. When choosing any bank, watch out for teaser rates that disappear. Push back on minimum balances, try to get them waived. Don't let them upsell you on fancy accounts with services you'll never use. If they say, oh, we don't have no fee accounts anymore, be ready to say, okay, then I'll take my business elsewhere. Be firm. And yes, you can negotiate fees. He gives his own script for getting Wells Fargo to refund a $120 overdraft fee plus interest. The key is having a clear goal, being polite but persistent, and reminding them you're a good customer. Adam Ferguson got a bounce check fee waived just by asking nicely. It works more often than you think.
Those negotiation scripts are pure gold. Awesome. For week 2, he says. Start out checking, no fees, no minimums. Open that online high-interest savings, maybe an online checking too, and fund the savings, leaving about 1.5 months of expenses in checking. Solid plan. Okay, so credit sorted, banking optimized, we're beating the system. Now, the big one for actually building wealth, investing. This is where a lot of people freeze up. Ramit uses that great story about Indian parents and the A- grade. What's that really about? How does it tie into the investing mindset, and why do so many young people avoid investing?
The A- story. It's brilliant. Your parents asking, why not A? Even when you got an A-. It perfectly captures that mindset of continuous improvement, never being satisfied, always pushing. That's crucial for investing. Young people often avoid it because of, well, a couple of big things. One is fear. You see scary headlines like global financial crisis and just panic. The other is just feeling like you don't know enough, that investing is for rich people. But Sethi argues these are exactly the most important investing years of our lives because time and compounding are so powerful when you're young.
Right. And if you don't invest, what are you actually missing out on? The cost of sitting on the sidelines must be huge.
Oh, it's genuinely shocking. He cites stats like less than a third of employees under 25 even participate in a 401k, and only 16% put in enough to get the full company match. That's literally free money just being left on the table. Thousands of dollars per year potentially lost. And his take on market drops for young folks is counterintuitive but spot on. A drop in the stock market is a good thing for young people. Why? Because investments are essentially on sale. It's your chance to buy low. He talks about A, B, and C people. A's are optimizers. C's are the lost cause, like Ronald Wagner blowing money on bike parts instead of investing and ending up bankrupt. Most of us are B's we can be persuaded to act. The goal is just not to drift into that C category.
Okay, so forget the lottery, and being a perfect day is tough. What's the real way to build serious wealth then?
It's way less sexy than people think. No secret formulas. He points out 80% of America's millionaires are first-generation affluent. They didn't inherit it. They're secret. They consistently invest 20% of their household income each year. And crucially, wealth isn't about your paycheck size. It's about how much they've saved and invested over time. His example's powerful. A project manager making $50K can be richer, higher net worth than a doctor making $250K if the project manager saves and invests diligently. Time is everything. Invest now. You're not getting any younger. Just $10 a week for 5 years at 8% becomes thousands. The stock market, he says, is the biggest money-making vehicle in the history of the world. And lots of places waive minimums if you set up automatic monthly transfers. Makes it easy to stink small.
Consistency in time, the unsexy secrets. Okay, to make this easier, Ramit gives us the ladder of personal finance, a clear roadmap. Can you walk us through those steps, especially the crucial first few?
Yeah, the ladder is great because it gives you clear priorities. Here are the rungs. 1, get your 401k match, period. Quite simply, no better deal. It's free money, instant return. Do this first. 2, pay off high-interest debt, credit cards, personal loans, that 14% plus APR. Paying it off is like getting an instant return of 14% on your money. Huge. 3, open a Roth IRA. This is for tax-free growth in retirement. Huge advantage. You could put in up to $5,000. Back in 2009, it changes, if your income qualifies. And here's a key bit. You can often take out your contributions, the principal, penalty-free at any time after 5 years. Super flexible. 4, max out your 401k. Go beyond the match up to the legal limit, $15,500 then. This money grows tax-deferred. That extra 25% or so you save on taxes now gets to compound for decades. Powerful stuff. 5, anything extra. Then you look at taxable investment accounts, maybe extra mortgage payments, or even investing in your self-skills, education to earn more.
That's a super clear order of operations. But actually opening those first accounts, the 401k, the Roth IRA, it still feel intimidating. How do we physically do it?
It's usually less hassle than you think. For the 401k, it's mostly paperwork. Call your HR administrator, get the forms, maybe 30 minutes. Just make sure you've set up automatic contributions to get that full match. Even with no match, it's often worth it for the tax benefits if there are no fees. For the Roth IRA, you need an investment brokerage account first. Think Vanguard, T. Rowe Price, discount brokerages. The brokerage is the house. The Roth IRA is a special room inside. Lots of them waive the minimum opening deposit if you commit to automatic monthly contributions. Like Hannah Flath, starting with just $50 a month. Sethi is really emphatic here. I don't care where you get the money, but get it. Just start. The next best time to invest is today.
Okay, starting is key. Now here's where Ramit gets a bit controversial, maybe makes us squirm. His take on experts. He tells that crazy story about the wine experts fooled by food coloring. What's the parallel he's drawing to financial experts?
The wine story. It's brilliant because it cuts through the BS. So 57 experts describe a red wine. Intense, deep, spicy, then a white. Lively, fresh, floral. The punchline: it was the exact same white wine. One just had red food coloring added. 57 wine experts couldn't even tell they were drinking two identical wines. Sethi uses this to hammer home a point about finance. Expertise is about results, not fancy titles or smooth talk. If the experts can't even do the basics reliably, well, what does their expertise really mean?
Right. So what are the results when we look at financial expertise in the real world? Is it any better than the wine tasters?
Honestly, the data is pretty sobering, that 2008 study. High school seniors got less than half the financial literacy questions right. Okay, maybe expected. But the pros, even professional fund managers with all their resources and huge paychecks, Goldman Sachs folks averaging $622K in 2006, they failed to beat the market 75% of the time. It's not necessarily that they aren't smart, it's just that consistently beating the market is incredibly hard.
75% fail to beat the market. Wow. So what about all those guys on TV, the pundits making big calls about where stocks are headed next?
Exactly why Sethi calls market timing a fool's game. Those talking heads making grandiose predictions. He says flat out, nobody can predict where the market is going. Nobody. All that noise just creates information overload. It pushes regular investors into making mistakes, buying high, selling low. There was a study showing if you missed just the best 20 days of market performance over 20 years, 1983, 2003, your return dropped from over 10% to just 5%. The answer: consistent long-term investing. Ignore the daily chatter. He also rips into useless newsletters and points out how major magazines gave terrible advice right before crashes.
And sometimes it feels like they're hiding the bad news, right? Selectively showing only the winners. How does that work?
It's called survivorship bias. You see those best 10 funds lists from places like Morningstar? What they don't highlight are all the funds that performed badly and were quietly shut down. Erased from history, as Sethi puts it. Daniel Sullen found 47 out of 50 advisory firms kept recommending stocks right up until they went bankrupt. It creates this illusion of success. Sethi even explains how a scammer could fake a perfect track record just by emailing predictions half get buy, half get sell, and only continuing with the group that got the correct prediction each time. Looks like genius, but it's just manufactured luck.
Man, that's sneaky. Okay, so given all this, do most of us, especially starting out, even need a traditional financial advisor?
Sethi's pretty clear on this. Most young people don't need a financial advisor. Why? Because our needs are usually pretty straightforward. Automate savings, invest in low-cost funds, pay off debt, you can manage that yourself. Plus, many advisors work on commission. That means they get paid to steer you into expensive, bloated funds that might make the money but aren't best for you. He admits some are good, but many are pretty useless. His advice: if the only way you'll start investing is by hiring someone, then okay, do it. But if you do hire someone, look for a fee-based advisor, like from www.napafe.org. They charge a flat fee, not commissions, so their advice is less likely to be biased.
That fee-based versus commission distinction is huge. Okay, so if actively picking stocks and trusting potentially biased experts is out, what's the alternative? How do we invest without trying to beat the market?
The alternative, and the path Sethi strongly recommends, is passive management, specifically using index funds. Active management is where managers try to pick winning stocks. We saw how that usually goes: human mistakes, high fees, 1.53%, and underperforming the market most of the time. Passive index funds, they don't try to beat the market. They just aim to match it by tracking an index like the S&P 500. The result: dramatically lower fees and consistent returns that mirror the market's performance. Warren Buffett himself said it. Almost everyone should just buy diversified index funds with low costs and hold them. It's about getting market returns reliably and cheaply, not chasing impossible wins.
Okay, passive investing, index funds. Got it. So if that's the strategy and picking stocks isn't the key, what does determine how well our investments do? Ramit says it's not about being sexy, it's about being rich, and it starts with asset allocation. What is that?
Right, this is so crucial. Investing is not about picking stocks. That's the myth. The real driver of your portfolio's performance, its ups and downs, is asset allocation. That just means your overall mix. How much you put into stocks, how much into bonds, how much into cash. That big picture decision, according to major studies like Brinson, Hood, and Bowers, is way more important than your actual investments in determining your results. It's the strategy, not just the individual plays.
Okay, strategy over stock picking. Can you break down those main pieces? Stocks, bonds, cash. What role does each one play?
Sure. Think of them as different tools for different jobs. Stocks, or equities. These are your growth engine. High potential for long-term gains, but also more volatile day-to-day. Sethi advises against picking individual stocks too hard, too risky. One bad earnings report and boom, down 20%, like he mentions with eBay. Better to own a broad basket through funds. Bonds. These are for stability. They usually move less dramatically than stocks and sometimes go up when stocks go down. They act like a shock absorber, reducing overall risk. Really important as you get older or if you just can't stomach big swings. Cash. This is your safety net. For emergencies, short-term goals. Not really an investment for growth because inflation eats away at it. Keep enough for your immediate needs, but don't hoard too much long-term.
Makes sense. Different tools. How do we figure out the right mix for us personally? How do we find our investor profile?
Sethi has a fun quiz that puts you in one of three buckets. The C's. They sweat like Patrick Ewing when the market drops. Totally fear-driven. They need to get their head on straight. The A's. They're robotic, emotionless optimizers who stick to the plan no matter what. But most people. They're B's. They want growth, but they want it with minimal hassle. They probably don't need the money for 5+ years, maybe longer. They want to set it, forget it, and let it grow without obsessing. That's likely most of us listening.
Probably right. Most of us are B's. Okay, so once we know our type, Ramit offers 2 paths to investing to actually do this. What are they?
Yeah, he keeps it practical. Path 1 is the easy version. Life cycle funds, also called target date funds. This is basically one single fund you buy. You pick the year you think you'll retire, like a 2050 fund, and it automatically adjusts its mix of stocks and bonds over time, getting safer as you get closer to that date. Super simple, totally hands-off. Diversification and rebalancing, done for you. Path 2 is the advanced version. Build your own portfolio using low-cost index funds. Here, you pick several different index funds yourself. Maybe one for U.S. stocks, one for international stocks, one for bonds, maybe even real estate. REITs gives you more control, potentially lower fees if you choose well. He even mentions the super advanced David Swensen Yale endowment model as an example of sophisticated diversification, mixing in emerging markets, TIPSES, inflation-protected bonds, etc. Swensen got amazing returns, 16.3% a year, but had Yale's resources. For us, it's more about the principle. Spread your bets widely.
That Yale model sounds intense. Okay, for us regular B investors using index funds or target date funds, what are the ongoing management principles? Things like dollar cost averaging and rebalancing.
2 key things to keep it running smoothly. First, dollar cost averaging. This just means investing a fixed amount of money automatically on a regular schedule, like every payday. Why? It hedges against drops. When prices are low, your fixed amount buys more shares. When prices are high, it buys fewer. It smooths out your purchase price and stops you from trying to time the market. It also helps you ignore the noise, just let the automation happen. He says don't even log in more than once a month. Second is rebalancing. Over time, some investments will grow faster than others, throwing your target mix, like 70% stocks, 30% bonds, out of whack. So once a year, or maybe every 18 months, you need to adjust things back. His zucchini analogy is great. If it takes over the garden, you trim it back. The best way. Rebalance using your new contributions. Instead of selling your winners, which can trigger taxes, just direct your new investment money into the parts of your portfolio that are lagging behind until it's back in balance.
Rebalancing with new money, that's smart. Avoid selling. Okay, what if you have multiple accounts, like a 401k at work, a Roth IRA you open, maybe another taxable account? How do you manage the asset allocation across all of those?
Yeah, that can seem complicated, but he has a great system. The one-pot solution. The idea is simple. Treat all your accounts as one big pot of money. Don't stress about having the perfect 70-30 split inside each individual account. Instead, look at the total across all accounts. Then, designate one account as your variable account. This is where you do all your rebalancing adjustments. The other accounts can be static, maybe holding just one type of asset, like your spouse's 401k is 100% U.S. stocks, for example. This massively simplifies things. You only need to actively manage or rebalance in that one variable account to keep the overall pot where you want it. He also adds a tip, forget. Put tax-inefficient assets, like bonds, which generate taxable interest, inside your tax-advantaged accounts, like IRAs, 401ks first. Smart.
The one-pot solution makes managing multiple accounts way less daunting. Okay, deep breath. We've covered saving, banking, investing, the mechanics. But Ramit stresses this isn't just about piling up money, it's about living a rich life. And part of that is actually spending money, but without guilt. He calls it conscious spending. What does it actually mean?
Conscious spending is maybe one of the most powerful ideas in the book. It's about deciding deliberately where every single dollar is going to go. You allocate money for going out, for saving, for investing, for rent. And once you've made those conscious choices and funded your priorities, savings, investments, bills, the money left over, you spend it, guilt-free. It completely reframes spending from something reactive or accidental into an intentional act aligned with your values. He also makes a great distinction between being cheap, mindlessly cutting costs everywhere, and being frugal, consciously choosing where to spend big and where to cut back based on what you value. He even mentions that fascinating study about obesity spreading through social networks, suggesting our friends' spending habits can unconsciously pull us away from our own conscious choices.
That social influence is subtle but strong. He gives some really different examples of conscious spenders, right? Can you share those? They really show it's personal.
Yeah, they're great because they shatter stereotypes. You've got Lisa, who loves shoes, spends $5,000 a year on them. Sounds crazy, right? But she makes great money, high six figures, lives super cheaply otherwise, eats free at work. Shoes are her conscious priority. Then John, the party animal, drops $21,000 a year going out in a big city. Again, sounds nuts. But he also makes six figures and cuts costs hard elsewhere, no vacations, doesn't decorate his apartment. Going out is his priority. And Julie, working for a nonprofit, makes maybe $40K, but she saves over $6,000 a year because she's disciplined, cooks at home, shares rent, gets travel reimbursed. Saving is her priority. The big takeaway, it's not the amount spent, but the context. Is it part of a deliberate plan that reflects what you actually care about? That's conscious spending.
Not about deprivation, just our intention. Love it.
Yeah.
So how do we actually set up this plan? He uses a 4 buckets framework, right?
Exactly. The 4 buckets make it easy to visualize and manage. 1, fixed costs. 50–60% of take home. Rent, mortgage, utilities, loans, insurance. The must pays. Calculate these first. 2, investments. Automate this. Your long-term well building. At least 10% of take home pay automatically flowing into your 401k, Roth IRA, etc. 3, savings goals. 5–10%. For specific things you want in the shorter term. Vacation, new car, wedding, house down payment. He shows how saving for a $60K down payment in 5 years means putting aside $1K a month. Having a goal makes saving way easier. 4, guilt-free spending, 20–35%. Whatever's left after funding the first 3 buckets. This is for restaurants, movies, hobbies, clothes, travel, anything you want. Spend it without a second thought because you know your important stuff is covered.
That framework is super clear. Fixed costs, investments, savings goals, then guilt-free spending. How do we make this plan even better? Talks about big wins, not sweating the small stuff.
Yeah, the big wins idea is key. It fights that tendency to obsess over cutting $5 lattes when bigger drains exist. He says, find the 1 or 2 big problem areas in your spending and attack those first for maximum impact. Don't agonize over buying generic cereal. He uses Brian's example. Brian was $1,250 short in his plan each month. Instead of tiny cuts everywhere, he focused on 1, aggressively paying down 18% credit card debt, saved $266 a month. 2, canceling unused subscriptions, Netflix, some Star Wars thing, and 3, gradually reducing eating out bar tabs. Those big moves made a huge difference, way more than nickel and diming.
Focus on the big rocks first. Makes sense. He also mentions the envelope system for the guilt-free part. And what if? What if you do all this, cut back, focus on big wins, and you still don't have enough money?
Right. The envelope system is just a way to manage that guilt-free bucket. You can use actual cash in envelopes for categories like dining out, entertainment, etc., or just use virtual sub-accounts in your online bank. When the envelope or account is empty, you stop spending in that category for the month. He suggests using debit cards with overdraft turned off to enforce it. And yeah, what if after all the optimizing, the math still doesn't work? If you've genuinely cut to the bone and automated everything, then Sethi says the answer is clear. The next step is to earn more money.
Okay, earning more. Let's talk negotiation. Ramit gives super detailed steps for asking for a raise, which, let's be honest, feels terrifying for most people. What's the core approach? What's the mindset shift needed?
Yeah, negotiation is tough, but he says it's 90% about mindset and 10% about tactics. The huge mindset shift is this. It's not about you needing money. It's not about your bills or your rent increase. It's about demonstrating your value to the company. You have to show how your work has been clearly contributing to the company's success and how you plan to continue contributing. You're positioning yourself as a valuable asset, not someone asking for a handout.
Okay, focus on value, not need. How do you actually build that case? What's his 3-month negotiation plan?
It's a really smart, phased approach. Takes the guesswork out. 1, 3 months out. Start tracking everything. Quantify your achievements. Help sell 25K widgets. Cut processing time by 15%. Get concrete numbers. Also, ask your boss, what would excelling in this role look like to you? Get aligned. 2 months out. Meet with your boss. Share your tracking progress. Ask for feedback. Am I focusing on the right things? Shows initiative. 3, 1 month out. Give a gentle heads up. I'd like to discuss my compensation next month. Is there anything specific you'd like me to prepare? 4, 2 weeks out. This feels really weird, he admits, but do it. Role-play the negotiation with a trusted friend or mentor. Practice saying the words, handling objections, get comfortable. 5, the big day. Come armed. Bring market salary data, salary.com, payscale.com. Bring your list of quantified accomplishments, and bring a strategic plan for your role for the next year. Show you're thinking ahead about how you'll keep adding value.
That's incredibly thorough. Bill's a rock-solid case. What about tactics during the actual conversation? And any major no-nos?
Key tactics.
Yeah.
Always frame requests around company benefit. By doing X, I can help the company achieve Y. Make it about them. Also, having another job offer is the single most effective thing. It gives you massive leverage. He suggests interviewing elsewhere simultaneously if you're serious. The big don'ts. 1, never tell them your current salary if asked by a new employer. It just anchors the discussion low. 2, don't make the first offer. Let them state a number or range first. 3, don't reveal weak offers from other companies. Only leverage strong ones. 4, avoid yes-no questions. Ask open-ended ones like, what would it take to get to $6? 5, never ever lie. Be strategic, but always truthful.
Great tactical advice. Okay, so you get the raise. Woohoo! Now what? It's so tempting to just upgrade everything. What does Ramit advise after you succeed?
Celebrate modestly, he says. Then, invest the raise. He quotes Buffett again. Having money doesn't require you to spend it. The key is, maintain your current standard of living. Don't let lifestyle creep eat up the extra money. Instead, feed your system. Automatically direct that raise into your investments or savings goals. Accelerate your wealth building. Jason Henry's example. Every 4% raise became a 2% boost to his retirement savings. Sethi also pushes hard on freelancing and side gigs. Find ways to earn extra income based on your skills. He did it in high school rewriting websites. That extra cash can seriously turbocharge your financial plan.
Maintain lifestyle. Invest the raise. Find side hustles. Solid advice. Okay, this whole system, conscious spending, investing, negotiating, sounds amazing, but also like a lot to keep track of. How does Ramit make it so you don't have to constantly manage everything? He promises save while sleeping. How does that actually work? How does it tie back to avoiding that analysis paralysis?
This is where it all comes together. The automatic money flow. Your finance assembly line. The goal is simple. Set it up once, maybe spend 30 minutes a month checking in and let the system run itself. Money automatically goes where it needs to go. It harnesses the power of default. Once it's running, it actually takes effort to stop it. You're lazy and you won't mess with it, he says bluntly. His famous line, if you got eaten alive by a Komodo dragon, your money system would continue. It's about building a system so robust it works despite you, not because of you constantly tinkering. Like David Back's automatic millionaire idea, set it and forget it.
Okay, the Komodo dragon test. Love it. Can you walk us through an example like Michelle's setup? How does the money flow automatically?
Sure, Michelle's flow is a great illustration. First, her 401k contribution is taken out by her employer before she even sees the money. Automatic. The rest of her paycheck gets direct deposited into her checking account, the hub. A day or two later, her Roth IRA automatically pulls its set percentage from checking. Then her online savings account automatically pulls its set percentage, maybe split into sub-accounts for wedding, house. Most fixed costs, rent, utilities, maybe even credit card minimums, are paid automatically from checking. Her main credit card bill arrives via email. She gives it a quick 5-minute scan for errors, then it gets paid automatically in full from checking, whatever cash is left in checking after all that. That's her guilt-free spending money. She uses alerts, like from Mint, to track it.
Wow, that really is an assembly line.
Yeah.
So efficient. How do we actually set up our own? What are the practical steps?
It takes a little setup, but it's worth it. First, gather all your account info, logins, passwords, URLs, put it all in one secure place, a spreadsheet, a password manager. Second, sync up your bills. Call your utility companies, credit cards, etc., and ask them to change your billing dates so they all fall around the same time, ideally right after payday, like the 1st or 15th. This makes tracking so much easier. Then, map your flow. Literally draw out or list what happens on which days. Payday, money hits checking. Day +1, 401k Roth contributions happen. Day +2, savings transfers happen. Day +5, bills get paid. Day +25, credit card paid in full. If you have a regular income, estimate conservatively for the month ahead, set transfers based on that lower estimate, and adjust if more comes in. And remember his point. Once you've gotten your money under control, you absolutely should spend your leftover money. Enjoy it.
Okay, map the flow, automate everything. Got it.
Yeah.
So zooming out again, all this work, this system, it's not just for a bigger bank balance. It's for that rich life. What does that really mean in Ramit's world? And how does money play into our relationships, our parents, our partners, and those huge life purchases?
Exactly. The rich life isn't just about dollars. It's about what money enables. For Sethi, it's freedom, not having to think about money all the time, having choices, being able to travel and work on things that interest me. It's fundamentally about living life on one's own terms, without money being a constant source of stress or limitation. And because money touches everything, it inevitably impacts our closest relationships and biggest decisions.
Makes sense. Okay, starting with parents. What's his take? What if they want to manage your money? Or what if they're the ones struggling with debt?
He's pretty direct here. Letting your parents manage your money. Dumb, he says flatly. It's time to grow up. Even if they mean well, it keeps you passive. You don't learn, you don't make your own mistakes, which are valuable. You don't build confidence or get full transparency. Plus, honestly, once you learn this stuff, you can probably beat your parents' return. If your parents are in debt, approach it gently. Help them focus on small changes that will have big results. Maybe just tackling one credit card first, getting a win, building momentum. Don't try to overhaul their whole life at once.
Right, handle with care. Okay, now the big one. Talking money with your partner. That dreaded DTR conversation, defining the relationship financially. How on earth do you start that without it blowing up?
Yeah, it can be scary, but he argues it can actually bring you closer if done right. The key. Gradual process. Don't just drop a spreadsheet on them. Start small. Maybe ask their advice on a minor financial thing, even if you don't really need it. Just opens the door. Then mention you've been reading up on finance and suggest talking about our money together sometime. Plant the seed. When you have the big meeting, start by talking about shared goals and dreams first. What kind of life do you want together? Vacations, supporting parents. Then gently move into the numbers accounts, debts, income. Understand each other's money attitudes. Then create a joint plan for everything. Cards, accounts, budget, investments.
Goals first, then numbers. Smart. What about common issues, like if one person earns way more, or if one partner is, shall we say, less responsible with spending?
Good questions. If incomes are unequal, Sethi recommends splitting shared expenses proportionately by income, not 50-50. Financial experts like Sue Zorman agree. It feels fairer and avoids resentment. If you have an irresponsible spending partner, the trick is to elevate the conversation beyond you and your partner. Don't make it personal criticism. You spent how much. Instead, focus on the shared plan you both agreed to. Point to the plan, literally or figuratively, and say something like, hey, cool new gadget, just checking, are we still on track for our savings goal this month according to the plan? Focusing on the plan, not the person, removes the defensiveness. It becomes about sticking to the agreement, not about judging them.
Focus on the plan, not the person. Brilliant. Okay, shifting to those huge purchases, weddings. Ramit calls it the $28,000 question and highlights our hypocrisy. What's the deal with wedding costs?
He nails the hypocrisy, right? Everyone says, oh, we want a simple wedding, but then costs balloon because when it's your wedding, you're going to want everything to be perfect. The average U.S. wedding cost back then was nearly $28,000, more than half the median income. Crazy. Your options. 1, try to cut costs everywhere really hard emotionally. 2, do nothing and overspend. Moronic, he says. Or 3, budget and plan strategically. He shares surprising wedding math. Cutting your guest list in half might only save 25% of the cost. Why? Because the biggest chunks are fixed costs. Venue, food, photographer, that's where you find big savings. He gives wild examples. Flying in a photographer from the Philippines, printing invites in India. Get creative on the big ticket items.
It's also the fixed costs for weddings. What about buying a car? Another budget buster.
For cars, his single most important decision isn't the make or model, it's how long you keep the car. Aim for more than 10 years. The real savings happen after the payments stop. His 4 steps. 1, budgeting. Make sure it fits your conscious spending plan. 2, picking. Choose something reliable that you actually like driving with good resale value. 3, negotiating. Be merciless. Shop at year-end. Use services like Fighting Chance. He tells how he faxed 17 dealers to get bids and saved thousands. 4, maintaining. Keep meticulous records. Do the maintenance. It extends the car's life. And his strong advice, don't lease. Nearly always benefits the dealer, not you. You're just locked into perpetual payments with no ownership.
Keep it long-term, negotiate hard, don't lease. Got it. And the absolute biggest purchase for most, buying a house. Who should even think about it? And what's Ramit's rather controversial view on houses as investments?
Yeah, he really pushes back against the automatic American dream narrative. He says you should only consider buying if, 1, you can afford the total monthly costs, not just mortgage, but taxes, insurance, maintenance. 2, you're looking at a reasonable starter home, price around 3x your gross annual income. And 3, you plan to stay in the house for at least 10 years. It's not just a step you take because you hit 30, his controversial take. The truth, real estate is a poor investment. He calls it the most overrated investment in America. Whoa. His reasoning, it's a purchase first, investment second. Historically, returns are mediocre. He cites Yale's Robert Shiller. Residential real estate returned basically zero after inflation from 1890 1990. People forget the huge opportunity costs, money tied up that could be invested elsewhere, and all the hidden fees, property taxes, insurance, repairs, maintenance, it adds up. He argues renting is often a smart decision, especially in pricey areas. Renters avoid those fees and keep cash free for potentially better investments. He busts myths too. Prices don't always go up. Leverage can work against you if prices fall. Tax deductions aren't magic. You have to spend $1 to save maybe 25 cents, if you do buy. Prepare carefully. Check your credit score way in advance. Calculate the total cost, including closing costs, to 50%. Get the most conservative, boring loan possible. A 30-year fixed offers flexibility. Look for perks. And be realistic about costs planned for them in monthly chunks.
Wow, that's a lot to reconsider about homeownership. Okay, we have truly covered a mountain of insights today, from the mindset shifts, beating the banks, automating investing, conscious spending, right through to navigating relationships and these huge life decisions. It really is a full roadmap.
It really is. And I think the core message running through I Will Teach You to Be Rich is that it's not just about the money itself. It's about understanding the psychology behind it, using smart systems like automation and optimization, and ultimately aligning your financial life with your values to build your definition of a rich life. It puts you firmly in the driver's seat.
Absolutely. It's about that freedom, that fulfillment, pursuing what actually matters to you. So as we wrap up, the question for you listening is, what's a one specific area you're going to tackle this week? Based on everything we've discussed, how will you start using these insights to build your own rich life? Keep digging deep, keep learning, and definitely join us again on the channel for more insights to help you live your richest life.